What is up, y'all? Nature Girl 30 here. I'm gonna actually try to get this Q&A uploaded tonight because, of course, it's the week of Thanksgiving. So more than likely, this Q&A is going to be put up early, and they're probably this after this week. Of course, it's not going to be any more until next week. But either or, guys, let's get started with this Q&A. I actually have some on Twitter as well as on YouTube. Let's get started with my Twitter. My first set of questions actually comes from Marjan, and he's at Kamib1. I probably said it wrong, so if I did, my apologies. Your first question for me is, what was your favorite Undertaker WrestleMania match? I was blessed to be able to go witness WrestleMania 27, even though everybody says that's the worst one. But I will admit this: that match was the beginning. That was the beginning of the end for Taker, because literally, even though Taker won, he had to be carried out in an electric gurney just to get out the ring, get out the arena. It was a very brutal match. It was, I mean, Triple H gave everything he could to him, and he did everything. I mean, seriously, he was still able to get up. He even tombstoned him, and we all thought that Triple H was going to win. I would have been fine if he did, but he didn't, and Taker ended up winning that match. But it was the beginning of the end, and that just shows that it was wear and tear on his body after that match. But by far, it is WrestleMania 27. That's my favorite streak match ever. I would say, WrestleMania 30, of course, when the streak ended, but 27 is where it actually started. It was where everything was starting to break down, and it was the beginning of the end after Triple H fought him. Your second question for me is, why do you like Eva Marie? The reason why I do is because I always like seeing the underdog. And people keep forgetting that Trish was not that good when she first got started. She was great as a valet. She was great as a heel valet, but that's all she had going on for her. But then she kept practicing. She kept getting in the ring, and she kept performing, and she got really great to where she ended up being a Hall of Famer. The one thing I say about Eva Marie is she has the potential to be a great heel. As well as her performance. Her performance has improved. She's still trying to get a hang of her character, but she actually is getting better. She's improving leaps and bounds. Same thing with the Bella Twins. So I'm all for her. I'm part of the Red Nation. Your third question for me is, do you agree that they should okay? Do you agree that they should just fire all the divas because nobody cares about them? No. There's a lot of people that actually do care about the divas. A lot of people care about Sasha Banks, and the matches she had with Bayley, that shows that these women can scrap. Like, they're not just there to look pretty like how the model divas were. They are actually out there to perform. So honestly, a lot of people are caring about the divas at NXT. As for the divas on the main roster, they need to work on that. But honestly, no, I don't think they need to fire them. I think they need to actually show them how to talk and show them how to perform in the ring. And if they don't know how to do it well, they should take them back and retrain them. That's how I feel about it. If you're putting money into somebody, put money into them. I mean, seriously. Moving on to my next set of Twitter questions that actually comes from, I think that, unless I did answer this, I'm not entirely sure. Oh, yep, I did answer it, so never mind. Anyway, moving on to my first set of Twitter questions. I mean, not Twitter, but Facebook. I'm all over, not Facebook, YouTube, duh. I'm sorry, I am all over the place today. Okay, my first set of questions comes from Dustin Nunn. Do you think Dustin Nunn should become a WWE superstar? If you want to, if you got a gimmick that works, why not? It is hard work, I will tell you that. What are your thoughts on what Justin Bieber said about that lady on TV? You didn't say that, but I'm gonna correct you. Yeah, I know about the older lady that Justin Bieber kind of made nervous. She handled it professionally. She was probably surprised he was there, but hey, I mean, he was probably just playing around. Whether she was uncomfortable, I didn't really see that in her face, but yeah, she looked like she somewhat enjoyed it, but didn't really expect it. What do you think of when black teens and some white ones were doing the fire challenge? I don't know. Look, all these YouTube challenges are stupid in itself. especially the cinnamon challenge, which can literally dehydrate you and possibly, well, yeah, it can dehydrate you, as well as you can choke on it, and you can probably hurt yourself really bad doing it. And the fire challenge can kill you if you don't know how to do it. If you do it in the worst way, shoot, if you do it at all, it can kill you. So all these challenges is just flat out stupid. But yeah, no more black and white. And I'm just going just, and I didn't screen these, and I should have. But anyway, how come when Justin Bieber sexually harassed that? I don't know. Look, if anybody has any more questions about Mr. Griffin, go to him. Stop coming to me with it, okay? I'm sick of the racist questions. I'm sick of y'all talking about my friends. And I am sick to death of everybody asking me about Mr. Griffin. If you really want to know about him, go straight to his channel and send it to him. He will answer it for you. No problem, hands down. So if you guys aren't cowards like you say you're not, go talk to him and leave me be about Mr. Griffin. Okay? Enough said. Other than that, I'm not answering any more racist questions. I'm not answering any more questions that are insulting people or my friends. I am done with that. Seriously, the next time I get it, I'm just going to straight up ignore you. Or if you actually come and harass me, I'm going to block you. Straight up. That's it. But anyway, let's move on. Next set of questions comes from Shoro Roro Hayoyor. Has your car ever broke down and you couldn't make it to work the next day? It's happened to me a few times. I know my gas is, like my fuel system was so bad on my old car that my gas was literally spitting itself out at me. It was literally squirting me in the chest. Like, it was that bad. And but I ended up having to get another car. But yeah, that's happened to me before. But when that happened, I ended up having to take a bus. You end up having to take public transit. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not. Why is Eva Marie getting a push on NXT all of a sudden? All I know is that they see something in her. She's very pretty. She's very attractive. She attracts people. People ask for her. So they're going to capitalize on it. But I will say this. She has the potential to be great. And I honestly do see great things coming from her, even though a lot of people give her flack. But like I said many times before, Trish Stratus didn't start off that way, but she had to get better. The same exact thing with Eva Marie. So give her a break. You know, seriously, just give her a break, please. But anyway, why do you always compare her to Trish? Like I said, they were, number one, they were both fitness models. And number two, they really didn't work that well in the ring. And number three, Trish didn't really speak much, and she wasn't a good talker. She had to improve. That's what they have in common. They were fitness models, they couldn't speak, and they couldn't wrestle. They had to get better. So instead of everybody thinking that just because you come in the WWE, that means you're great, you're golden, not true. There's a few things you got to learn and get better at it. So for crying out loud, let her get better at it. Anyway, okay. Your last question for me is: do you think there was ever a worse male or female wrestler than Eva Marie? There's always a worse one. There's the Boogeyman is one of them, because the dude could entertain, but he couldn't wrestle worth crap. He would always get beaten up so many times. So the Boogeyman definitely was one. I guess I could probably say the Gobbledygooker too, but maybe it's just the name. But more than likely, it is definitely the Boogeyman. But anyway, my next set of questions comes from Lino Gino. How many times has your father been in the hospital this year? Many times, and it does break my heart that he's had so many surgeries, but thank God he's recovering from them, and I'm happy that this was possibly going to be his last, and that makes me very happy. So yeah, he's been, so far this year, the ones I've been to that I can remember are 3. He had multiple the year before. He got all messed up before he had to retire. But I'm happy that my dad is doing better, and I'm happy that this is going to be his last his last visit. Can you do a future video going to your house, going through a house tour at home? Honestly, I would do that, but I usually don't really have enough time in the day to do it, and I'm way too exhausted to even give a house tour. So honestly, it all depends. I'm not going to really make any promises with that, but I know it's been a very busy year. So usually when I come home, I'm just like flat out tired. But we'll see. We'll see, I suppose. What do you think of doing the best and worst moments of Girl Meets World video? by the end of the year. Honestly, I never really thought about it because Girl Meets World isn't gonna close, and I do think that they're gonna actually have a third season. Because Roland Blanchard, when she was actually being interviewed about the love triangle between her character Riley, Maya, and Lucas in high school, shows me that they're probably going to have a third season. So it's kind of difficult to do one right now because Girl Meets New Year has not shown up yet. It won't show up until December, and the next ones won't show up until, I think the next ones won't show up until March. So, I might do one so far. I might do a best and worst so far. I might just do it. But I haven't really thought about it. But hey, I might do it. But yeah, great idea, man. Great idea. And your next question for me is, what other alternative do I have for Thanksgiving? Since I don't eat meat anymore. The only thing I can say is eat vegetables. You don't have to eat the turkey. You don't have to eat the ham. You can probably just eat the casseroles and the cranberry sauce, as well as maybe if get some soda. I mean, but yeah, you don't have to necessarily eat the turkey. But there is tofurkey. There's actually is tofurkey and turducken. But I guess you can't really eat meat anymore, so you probably won't be able to eat turducken. But there is tofurkey, which happens to be tofu turkey. So you can probably eat tofurkey if you really want to. I've never tried it. It just sounds really weird. But hey, if you have an alternative, there you go. Vegetarians do it. So you can probably do that. And my next set of questions comes from Nintendo Fanboy 1988. What is your favorite Jake the Snake promo? Oh, man. Jake the Snake has so many that I remember, but I don't really have a favorite promo he ever did. But I will say by far my favorite feud that he's ever done, of course, was with Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Honestly, it was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious. The fact that he had his wife's face on his crotch, and no, Ravishing Rick Rude, not Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Ravishing Rick Rude, that's what it was. Ravishing Rick Rude, when he actually had his wife's face on his crotch, I was just like, okay. But then the big thing is when he pulled it down. And to this day, the WWE will not show the flesh-colored thong he wore. He was not naked. He wore a flesh-colored thong because as a young child or a young girl, I haven't seen a guy's thong before, and that was my first time I did. So yeah, I definitely did remember that. But that was one of my best feuds. And any promo that involved Ravishing Rick Rude was great. So I guess I can probably say that. What did you think when Earthquake crushed Jake's pet snake, Damien? I honestly thought that he did crush him. I kind of felt bad for the poor snake. I really did. I was like, no, don't hurt the snake. But then a part of me was like, no, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't be that mean. And then they actually pulled the snake out. I'm like, no. But yeah, I was heartbroken when he sat on the snake. Did you find Jimmy Hart annoying? Jimmy Hart was one of the best heel managers there were around the 80s. I mean, I enjoyed him. Besides Bobby the Brain. I love Bobby the Brain. But honestly, he knew how to play his role well. And when anybody paired up with Jimmy Hart made you look good. He was annoying because of that megaphone that he had. If he wasn't talking on that megaphone so much, that megaphone was the equivalent of Xavier Woods' trombone, but louder. And it's your voice, not music. So honestly, yeah, I would say that his megaphone was annoying. But as for his character, no, I enjoyed it. He actually made it fun. But I just hated that megaphone. Him going, just talking on the megaphone all the time. Like, okay, that's enough. That's enough, dude. Stop. Okay. What are your thoughts on all these anti-Eva Marie memes on the internet? Look, all I can say is that nobody's a legend overnight. You gotta work at it. You gotta get to that point. And all these people that are literally hating on her, it's sad. It really is, and it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart that I actually do see a lot of Eva Marie memes, but she's gonna get better. She wants this. She'll get better, and she's trying to do it for her Red Army, and she has a Red Army. So hey, she's doing something right. That's all I gotta say about that. Um, what are your thoughts on fans who are wishing death upon Eva Marie and saying she's worthless? All I can say is stop with the death threats. Enough, okay? I know you don't like a character, but for crying out loud, don't go overboard, all right? Especially, I mean, she's getting up there with the hate, with the Cena hate. So all I can say, look, she's gonna get better. But as for the death threats, they need to lay off. That's not right. It ain't right to wish death on anybody. Seriously. And they just need to lay off. Great questions, man. My final set comes from Final Limits. Thoughts on Melina exposing John Morrison's penis size and all that crap on Twitter. Honestly, Mr. Griffin actually did, he actually did send me the actual story on that. And I actually did do a video with him, and I have my personal thoughts about Melina and what she did to him on his channel. For those that are interested, I will try to put it up in a card somewhere if I can actually pull it up, or something like that. But anyway, I will say this. I think it was foul, the fact that she actually showed that he uses Cialis. And it's not the fact that it's, okay, when you have Cialis is for men who have erectile dysfunction. It's not so much of a penis enhancer. It's not an enhancer. It's actually an extender, maybe, to kind of help get it up. And the guy's in his 30s. So that has to be messed up enough to be taking Cialis for a guy that's as young as him. But yeah, that was foul. That was foul what she did. But hey, like I said on Mr. Griffin's video, John Morrison knew how she was. He knew that she was petty sometimes, and he knew that she can go off the handle, and he's been with her for 11 years. So he knew he got what was coming to him, because he expected this. He had to expect it, because he's been with her that long. He probably seen a lot worse. But all I can say is nobody really deserves to be humiliated like that. But if he stays with her, then that's the biggest pump going. Seriously, that's a pump move right there. What is the worst damage that has ever happened to your house, and has it before? Gosh, plumbing mostly. I'm on a well system, so you get that hard mineral water, and you have to deal with all kinds of issues. I had to deal with my laundry being orange for years. I had to get oxidizers in my water. I actually had to get oxidizing detergent in order to get my shirts white, because it will always be turned orange because of the high mineral content in the water. It sucked. It sucked so much. And not to mention that in my bathrooms, for some reason, my the actual spouts for the tubs will always get worn really quickly, and it would just shoot off, and I would have to go buy another one and screw it back on. I have so many issues with water that is causing so many problems, and it's just the water. It's how it is, and it sucks. But anyway, what are every single meal that you eat for Thanksgiving? Okay, the meals that I eat for Thanksgiving vary. I haven't really seen my family, my extended family, in years. But usually when I do go home and visit my parents, and we have Thanksgiving there, just us as a small family, we usually just have the same thing. We have turkey, we have ham, we have somebody, but it's usually just me and my mom making it every morning at like 3 a.m. And then we just make the whole spread. And the turkey is actually put in 12 hours prior, so it'll be able to cook. So we're just cooking pretty much throughout the day. And honestly, we're just cooking casseroles and stuff like that. Like nothing really big or anything. I'm going to move this to the side. But yeah, I mean, it's not anything really, really big. But it's always green bean casseroles, pea casseroles, corn, yams, ham, turkey, cranberries, stuff like that. The usual Thanksgiving foods. That's pretty much what we eat. And if I go home to Tennessee, it's going to probably be chitlins. Somebody's got to bring them. Somebody's got to bring at least one pot of chitlins. It happens every year. I don't mind eating them. They taste pretty good with hot sauce on them. But there's a few relatives that make it that I don't eat because they can't clean it right. Enough said. But moving on from there, how is your gym life going? Do you have a personal trainer? Have you been losing weight still? Honestly, I'm still going to the gym. I haven't really this week because I have been so busy. I have been exhausted, and I really haven't had the energy to go work out. But the last time I checked, I actually did lose 20 pounds, but then it's kind of yo-yo thing. I lost 20 pounds, but then I gained it back a few weeks later, and then I end up losing 10 pounds, and then I gain it back. It's just been like a yo-yo thing. It's been kind of difficult to keep track. But so far, I've lost 20 pounds again, and I'm hoping that it'll actually stay off. And I actually feel a lot better, too. It feels like I've actually lost weight, and it looks like I've lost weight, too. But all I can do is just keep it up. But thanks for asking, man. And your last question for me is thoughts on ISIS attacks. Okay. When the Paris, the ISIS Paris attack really was heartbreaking. Especially these are people going out to events in the fall, soccer events in the fall, and they're just trying to enjoy themselves. And ISIS just wants to go out and destroy that. Not to mention they had a hotline, which was weird, but it was heartbreaking. But the one thing I can say about Paris is that Paris is not going to allow this to cripple their lives. They're going to continue to live the best way they can. And I think that's great. I really do. The same thing with Survivor Series. They were actually on high alert for Survivor Series. And they had, from what I heard, security everywhere because of what happened in Paris. But all I can say is that life will go on, and they chose for their lives to go on, and I'm all about that. I am all about the positivity. But guys, that is my Q&A. I thank you so much for sending me questions. And by all means, continue to send me questions via YouTube or on Twitter at RKH30, #NatureGirlQ&A. I will appreciate no more racist questions, as well as no more questions about Mr. Griffin, please. It's NatureGirl30 signing off. Peace out, guys. Later.